Alright, now we're going to look at loops. Loops are things that you do repeatedly, okay? Many times you have to loop through something or do something several times. So for example, what we're going to do is we're going to create a program that asks you to tell it a story, and then you can tell it whatever you want, but then when you say the end, then it will stop asking you for more lines for that story. So we have our wrapper, we have imported a scanner, so I'm going to get some input from the keyboard. Here's a scanner. I'm going to have variable text, okay, that's going to be the one that's going to receive the input. And one of the structures that I'm going to use is the do-while structure. What I'm going to do, this is one of those looping strategies. I'll say do, and then I'll do a lot of things. What I will do is this. I will say text is going to be equal, oh, I'm sorry, I'm going to prompt something, system.out.println, tell me more. Okay, and then I'm going to say text equals kbd.next line. So I'm going to store the next line in text. And I'm going to do this while the user has not entered the end. So basically when the user enters the end, I stop doing this, right? So while the user has not, that's the exclamation mark, has not entered the end in the text. So basically the text is not equals to the end. Okay? So I close all of the parentheses here. All right. After I'm done with my do while loop, I'll just print system.out.println by, just so you know that the loop finished. Let's compile this and run it. Compile, run it. Tell me more. I went out one day. So, and I saw an old man. Tell me more. That's the end. Alright, bye. You see that? So I was doing this until the user entered the end. Another thing that we can do is to reverse this and say while, do a while loop. The while loop changes the syntax slightly. There's no do. There's just the while condition. I'm just going to copy and paste up here. So while the text is not equals to the end, I'm going to say, hey, tell me more, and then the next line. There is a problem, however, here, and this is the difference between the two. This will compile, but when I run it, it's going to say bye immediately. Oh no, that's fine. The text started as blank, and then it's not equals to the end, so it's actually gonna work. So tell me more. I was walking one day. The end, and that's the end, right? So that's bye. So in this case, it works the same. Now, what I can say is, for example, the problem with this is that the difference with this and do is that the do loop goes through the body, which is what would be here, goes through the body once and then checks for the while. The while loop, on the other hand, first checks to see that this is true, and then it does whatever it needs to do. So for example, if I had just text, I'm going to revert to the do while loop. Sorry, this is going to be so confusing. So string text, I'm going to just try and do it like this. So string text, I'm not going to put anything in there. I'm going to try and compile it, and it'll say, oh, variable text might not have been initialized. It's saying this text is null, and it's warning me that this might going to break because text is not being initialized. Okay. However, if I have a do loop here, I'll do this, while the text is not the end, I will try to compile this. And it will compile because the text will get initialized here. It'll be declared here in text, and then it'll go through this, initialize it, and then it will check for the condition. Okay? Which one you want to do, it depends on whether you want to check things first or do one pass first and then check things at the end. Now, there's another loop that is meant to do this, which is the for loop, that you can also loop through things. For loop is usually used to loop through either counting numbers or counting elements in some collection of some sort, and it would work like this. Say, for example, I want to do this 10 times. Okay, so I'm just going to revert back to this, and I'll do 4. And then I need a variable in which I will keep the count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So int I, it'll start at 0. I has to be less than 10, and then I'm going to increase I by 1 at each iteration. Every time this body gets executed, I will increment by 1. This is what this is saying. So 10 is a lot for a little video, so I'm going to do this 3 times. Okay? Let's compile this and run it. And then tell me more. I was walking one day when I saw an old man sitting on a log. Bye. It did it exactly 3 times, and then it left. What you can use here is the variable I, for example, to say, I don't know, for the I time, tell me more. Okay? For the ith time, so the number, whichever number is an I, I'm just going to add a th at the end, and I'll say, tell me more. Okay? And I'm going to go till 4. Compile, run. Whoops. There you go. Compile, run. For the 0th time, tell me more. I was walking one day. For the first time, but it says the 1th time, tell me more. When I saw an old man. Now, for this 2th time, right, as opposed to the 2nd, when I saw an old man sitting on a log. For the 3rd time, tell me more. Sitting on a log, he had, and then it says bye, right? Now, what this does, the th, was obviously wrong here. What one should do is to put an if, right? If I is 1, then it's second, or a switch case, right? So appending this to this th here should be a variable. So can you create a program just like this one, that depending on the value of I, it tells me, first, second, so st, nd, rd, and then th on the subsequent times. We've covered while, do while, and for loops in here.